our secretary, sir, and our chief guest for today, and the main speaker to kindly come up on stage. Keeping in tune with the feeling in the auditorium of warmth, I think the weather has also improved a bit. So welcome to this August gathering when we pay homage to our founding father. We will begin with an opening prayer to be led by Dr. Shopun Kumar Mukherjee, Secretary of the College Council.
Let us bow down our head in prayer. Almighty God, our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of life and praise your holy name. Lord God, you are source of all knowledge and wisdom. We thank you for the life of Dr. Alexander Duff, your chosen servant, preacher, and educator, who sacrificed his life for upliftment of mankind through education. Almost nearly after 2 centuries, Lord, we honor the founder of the college through this Alexander Duff Memorial Lecture organized by this college. Jesus said, "No one lights a lamp and put it hidden under a table or a bowl. Rather, he puts the lamp on a stand so that those who come may see the light." Lord, we pray that you give your presence in this august assembly and bless the speaker, Dr. Devi Prasad Duari, so that the light of knowledge shared by him can enlighten all others who are listening. Ignite our mind as a light placed on a stand. Strengthen us with the wisdom which will flow from the speech and deliberations. Finally, Lord, we pray for the principal, vice principal, all faculty members, and non-teaching members of staff of this college, so that the college can continue to grow in unity, witness, and service under the guidance of Holy Spirit. Let the students are enlightened through liberal education offered in the college, so that they can make a difference in life in this highly competitive era. We ask all these prayers in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Aro alo, ei noyone prabhu chalo. We will now have the college hymn sung by our students. Those who know the song, please join. May we stand for the prayer. kindly be seated. On 27th May 1830, the first overseas missionary to India from the National Church of Scotland, Dr. Alexander Duff, reached Calcutta after a perilous journey that included 2 shipwrecks that he experienced. He came with a mission to spread the word of the Lord and to set up an educational institution somewhere near Calcutta. Once he reached Calcutta, Dr. Duff decided to set up the institution in Calcutta itself, not somewhere in Calcutta, which was the original plan of the Church of Scotland. He wanted to set it up in Calcutta. And who would help him? His helper and friend was Dr. Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So Dr. Duff and Raja Ram Mohan Roy together sort of dreamt of this institution and set it up. Dr. Duff took upon his shoulders the twin objectives of teaching and preaching. So he was both an ecclesiast and an educator. And that is what sets Scottish Church College apart. It is preaching and teaching in equal parts. The college underwent a number of nomenclature changes. None of the name changes were prompted by events in Calcutta or in India. They were all influenced by certain changes that were taking place in the Church of Scotland. The various fractures that happened in the Church of Scotland and the breakaway group that set up the Free Church institution. So that is very briefly, to talk about how Scottish Church College became from the General Assembly's institution that was set up by Dr. Alexander Duff into today's modern day avatar of the Scottish Church College. It was only 1929, after the union of the churches in Scotland, that we came up with this proper name, the Scottish Church College. It was in 2013 that it was decided by the college to organize an annual lecture in memory of and to pay homage to the founding father and the first principal of the college, to be delivered by a scholar of repute or an acclaimed alumnus. In the fitness of things, the first lecture was given by Sri H.C. Jamir, an illustrious alumni who was then the governor of Orissa. The second Alexander Duff Memorial Lecture was given by Sri Johur Sarkar, and the third by Dr. Bikash Sinha. The fourth was given by Professor Uma Dasgupta. The fifth by Dr. Polash Boron Pal. The sixth by Dr. Shekhar Bandopadhyay. Then the pandemic happened. Against that, we had an online presentation by Dr. Deepesh Chakraborty. Next one was again online by Professor Ishita Banerjee Dubey. And the ninth one, that is the one previous to this, was delivered by Professor Shugato Bose. My repeating what happened in the previous years is just to bring you up to date how the vision of the college has worked in choosing people who are going to speak to all of us. From a varied field of interest, we've had resource persons telling us, sharing their knowledge and enriching us. That was the vision of Dr. Alexander Duff. Varied knowledge domains that should be brought to the students. I will now request our principal to offer the welcome address.
Thank you, Kabiredi. Good afternoon to everyone. It is my great privilege and honor to welcome Dr. Devi Prasad Duwari, renowned scientist in astronomy, and fascinating and prolific speaker amongst us today. Dr. S.K. Mukhuti, Secretary of our governing body, Dr. Supratim Das, our Vice Principal, Dr. Upendranath Nundi, Bursar, Dr. Shamrat Bhattacharya, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Bidisha Sinha, Senator Secretary, Dr. Indrani Kaur, Teachers Council Secretary, Dr. Kabiri Chatterjee, anchor of today's program, and she is the one of the senior most faculty members of the Department of English in our college. Honorable guests, our former principal and vice principals, and faculty members of different departments, our collaborators, friends of this prestigious institution, honorable colleagues of mine, last but not the least, my beloved students, on behalf of Scottish Church College family, I welcome you all. Reverend Dr. Alexander Duff, the first Scottish missionary, came at the age of 24 with his young wife here in Calcutta to establish an institution where students will come to receive education in true sense, which will open the windows and doors of their heads and hearts to understand the presence of Holy Spirit in each and every individual. He and his successors from Scotland tried their best to nurture the whole person development of their students, to produce good human beings in particular, and good citizens for the country at large. Later on, the Indian principals also tried the same way. Today, we have gathered to pay homage to the founder principal of this institution, Reverend Dr. Alexander Duff. We are grateful to Dr. Duwari that he has accepted our invitation, and despite of his very busy schedule, he has managed his time to be with us today. I am also grateful to all of you for gathering today in this hall in the name of Reverend Duff. This program has been made live through YouTube, and the students who have joined us online, I also welcome you all. I'm grateful to my all internal management committee members who have organized this prestigious lecture of the college today. I know that everybody is eagerly waiting to listen to our speaker today, to experience the magnificent presence of the universe in which we are the tiny tots. So let us enjoy it. May God bless us all. Thank you. I'd like to conclude with a line written by Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore in this context. Mahabishe Mahakashe Mahakalo Majhe Ami Manobo Ekaki Bhrumi Bishoye Bhrumi Bishoye.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you for reminding us about those wonderful lines, because when you look at the cosmic horizon as the title that our resource person has given us for the lecture today, we cannot move away from Mahabishe Mahakashe. I would, quietly, at the same time, with Dr. Duari's permission, bring in another cosmos. Let me quote from Carl Saga, because the word cosmos reminds me of Carl Saga. So he says, we are made of star stuff. We are all part of the stars. I don't know, am I right, Dr. Duari? Yes. So, and of course, my friends here, Choitali and others, when we were talking about star, we spoke of Tagore, and we spoke of Aji Joto Tara Tabo Akashe. Oshim Akash. That is the cosmos. And our principal told us something about, we are tiny dots. I would change the word to tiny dots and connect it. We will have a little felicitation of our resource person. May I request our principal to felicitate Dr. Duari. She will be assisted by Professor Camelia Nondi, and behind the scenes we have Professor Lolita Ray. Thank you, ma'am. May I request our Vice Principal, sir, to felicitate our speaker, assisted by Professor Tamanna Sultana. This is to let everybody know that the creative work that has been done on the bag has been done by our students. So we are very proud of the work that our students are doing in Katha and Batik and other kind of creative output. Can I request? Yes. You cannot come to Scottish and not have mishti, because North Kolkata is synonymous with colleges, universities, the Hedua, College Square, and of course, mishti. That is something. So thank you so much. After the felicitations, we will have our address by our Vice Principal, Dr. Supratim Das.
A very good afternoon. Today's speaker, Dr. Devi Prasad Duari, we all know he is an excellent speaker, really an excellent speaker, and an outstanding astrophysicist. So he will speak his own way, and of course, as a social scientist, I have no intention to infringe on any cosmic or extra cosmic horizon. But I would rather take 3-4 minutes to take you back to where some of the beginnings could be found. There were Egyptians, Babylonians, there were Mesopotamians, and of course the Greeks, with whom this particular journey to look at the sky, to try to know the universe, all began with so much curiosity. We must not forget those immortal lines that can be found in Greek writing, that miracles are many in the world, but there is no greater miracle than man. This is a particular approach, and this approach actually for the first time could be found in Greek culture, in Greek civilization. So surely it's a very long journey from Pythagoras through what already was said, Carl Sagan, to why not, to so many of our contemporaries, including our Dr. Devi Prasad Duwari. It's a very long journey to know the universe, to explore it. Now, it's very interesting to note that right from the 6th century BCE, before Common Era, we find the writings of Pythagoras, Parmenides, Anaxagoras, Thales, Plato, Aristotle, Ptolemy, just mentioning some of the names, who all so richly contributed to what later on came to be known as a very composite discipline of cosmology, to know the cosmos. And what was really notable about the Greeks, what was unique with them? We all know that there were theologies, there were mythologies, and particularly there is a very rich history, a very long legacy of the history of religion. But to differentiate man from the world of divinities, to place man in the center, this particular process, it started with the Greeks. So that way, that journey, today already Kaveri referred to Carl Sagan. Yes, we know that when the spaceship was moving out for another moment, for a last moment, it redirected its direction to look at our beloved Earth, the tiny dot, where so many affections, loves, emotions, humanities, all are implicit. So this is just a legacy going on, and it started from Greece and it goes on. There have been new explorations in the cosmic horizon. Cosmic horizon is a very difficult theory. I am nobody to say. But I will remind you that this particular core of scientific research about the sky, about the universe, and just one more comment. We find almost the same reference in our Indian texts. There is a particular idea, notion called Rito. What does it mean? The cosmic order. So there is an order. It is not just arbitrary. It is not just random. There is an order. There is a discipline. The great cosmic order. It was also thought of in our ancient India, and according to one major historian, it is the highest plight. It is the highest plight in ancient Indian philosophical thought. Ritu, the cosmic order. It is this cosmic order. It is this order which was first thought of not only by the Greeks, but even in India. So, thank you very much. Like all of you, I am also very eagerly waiting to listen to Dr. Devi Prasad Duwari, who happens to be my batchmate for some time in Presidency College. So anyway, all of us are eagerly waiting to hear you. Thank you.
Thank you to Dr. Dash. This lecture could suddenly be called the cosmos from the classics to the modern day. It gives me great pleasure and privilege, it's a privilege to be introducing Dr. Duwari, because like the Vice Principal, in a very small way, I am also a batchmate of his. I don't have a science to my credit. At least the Vice Principal said social sciences. I cannot say that. I'm from English. Humanities. And this room full of physicists, I think, have a little bit of a skepticism. But I think the principal was aware of it. So she sent me to steward a whole lot of physicists. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Duwari is former director, MP Birla Planetarium, Kolkata. But that doesn't say anything. He's a well-known figure in the astronomical discussions of Kolkata. Having done his BSc and MSc from Jadavpur University, his PhD from Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, he has been visiting fellow at Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, India. He has taught at the Institute of Advanced Studies in Basic Sciences, Iran. He has been faculty, University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology, United Kingdom. He's also former director, Institute of Astronomy, Space and Earth Science, Kolkata. He has won numerous awards. He had the Best Thesis Award of the Astronomical Society of India 1993-94. He was awarded the Robindra Puroskar in 2019 by the government of West Bengal for literary achievements in science. He has the DSc Honoris Causa 2019 from SOA University, Orissa. He also has the Radhanath Shikdar Memorial Award 2023 from the Radhanath Shikdar Institute of Geospatial Science and Technology, Kolkata. He has written a number of books. Mahakasher Shohoj Path, published by the Department of Information and Culture, Government of West Bengal. Physics textbook for classes 9 and 10 from Chaya Prakashini, Cosmic Concepts and Challenges, and India's Space Odyssey, which is it published already or is it in preparation? It is in preparation. As I said, he has been, honorary faculty member of the Presidency University, and he's been teaching MSc Physics for many, many years. He has been resource person by the University Grants Commission, Human Resource Development Center, Calcutta, Jadavpur, Burdwan, and North Bengal universities. He has been resource person under the INSPIRE program of the DST Government of India. He has been visiting fellow scientists for various research collaborations. The Ettore Manorana Center for Theoretical Physics, Eris, Italy, the Vatican Observatory, Rome, Trieste, Italy, the Scuola Internazionale Superiore di Studio Avanti, Sisa, Italy, Institute of Astronomy, Cambridge, UK, Queen Mary and Westfield College, UK, Royal Observatory Astronomy, Edinburgh, UK, Observatoire d'Astrophysique, Paris, France, University of Liège, Belgium, Germany, Pennsylvania State University, College Park, USA, University of Manchester, Institute of Science and Technology, as well as the Geneva Observatory in Switzerland. He did a lot of work at the planetarium, for which he is well remembered by aficionados of astronomy and stargazers like us, who are not technically qualified, but just love the world of the stars. So during 21 years, when he was with the MP Birla Planetarium, Kolkata, His main objective was to not only run the world's largest planetarium, but successfully, but to establish it as a research institute recognized as zero by the government of India, and also to start an extensive public outreach program involving schools, colleges, universities, amateur astronomers, science organizations, and the general public. And I think it deserves a round of applause for this, because I know Dr. Duari as the face and the man behind many of these outreach programs which have brought astronomy as a household word to the world of schools and colleges. Thank you, sir, for doing this. So with that, I hand the microphone over to Dr. Duari. Before going, I will just repeat a couple of lines from Carl Saga. This first line is for Dr. Duari. It says, Carl Saga says this: somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. He said it about the cosmos, and I say it for Dr. Duari and what he's going to share with us. Thank you.
এটা আছে তো স্যার, এটা আছেন তো? আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, এর মধ্যে তাহলে এগুলো আমরা
না এটা না, দুটো খোলা, এটাকে আবার খুলছি। কিন্তু এটা তো দেখাচ্ছে না ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ডে কিছু।
ওটা ইয়ে মনে হয়।
হ্যাঁ এসছে তার আর কিছু। আচ্ছা আমি করে দিচ্ছি। অটোমেটিক হয়ে গেছে। স্লাইড শো করেছেন কি এটা?
হ্যাঁ,
না এটা স্লাইড শো আমি তো চেঞ্জ করব। স্লাইড শো হলে আমি বলতে বলতে চেঞ্জ হয়ে যাবে।
না 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 না,
দেখছি আমি।
হ্যালো হ্যালো জি।
আর এই লাইট দুটো কি নেভানো যাবে? তাহলে একটু যদি যায়। A very good afternoon to everybody present over here. ঠিক আছে? রাইট। ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে। না এই ঠিক আছে, চলুক, আমার কোনো অসুবিধা নেই, আমি তো দেখছি না। Sorry. It's really a wonderful feeling for me, truly speaking. This is the first time at the Scottish Church College that I have invited in the last 24 years that I am in Kolkata. And the experience, when I feel ecstatic, because of a couple of reasons. It brings back memories to me when the prayer was sung. It reminded me of Vatican Observatory. You know, it's an interesting feeling, somehow instant connection. Vatican Observatory is in a place not in Rome, but 28 kilometers from Rome, in a place called Castel Gondolfo, where the Pope stays. That's a papal palace. So then I stayed, luckily, for around 18 days, just next apartment to Pope in the papal palace. And there I was asked to deliver a lecture for a very selected audience, only some 30 people or so, all papal ministers and all that. And I was scared to death of what I will speak about. And before that, there was a small choir, young boys, singing some hymns. And today it remembered to me. And I'm a little scared again what I will speak about. But the point is that your vice principal has made it easy for me. Because what he mentioned was those figures, personalities, whom generally a class 6 or 7 boy or a girl read in the science book, Aristotle, Plato, Aristarchus, and they have said about science. They started the whole journey. And amazingly, none of them were called scientists. They are all philosophers. So that is a big lesson. Science and philosophy go hand in hand. Rather, by the Hindu concept, it's a circle where science ends, philosophy begins. Where philosophy stops, science starts explaining. But the present notion is a different thing. 2 pages of science, 2 pages of philosophy, and we start connecting them. That's not the deal. Whatever. And basically another thing I wanted to say is that all the other Duff Memorial lecturers, when I know almost all of them except 2 who have given in the pandemic time, starting from S.C. Jamir. I know him when he was a Chief Minister of Nagaland, very close friend of my father. So whatever, they have spoken about specific subject areas. And you will say, oh, you are also going to speak about astronomy. No. Astronomy, yes, but no. Why? Because at least in the last 40-45 years in my life, I have realized how astronomy, the knowledge, the perception, the consciousness has shaped up my life in other fields also. And I'm going to just mention a little bit about that. Okay. So you all know the title is Cosmic Horizon. This horizon is just not made up of stars, galaxies, and other things. This horizon is made up of our perceptions. And that's the reason I personally believe that whatever we are learning every day in astronomy defines the frontier of knowledge and consciousness till this moment. It's such a dynamic thing. Tomorrow new things will be found, and our limit, our cosmic horizon will be pushed farther away. So it's a continuous process, an evolution of our ideas in terms of how you see the cosmos and how you see the connection between you as an individual, as a life, and the cosmos, which Carl Sagan was one of the best person to describe it in a very, very nice way. Thousands of years back, our ancestors used to look into the sky and used to wonder, what is sky, where is sky, what are those lighted dots we call star, and is there any connection between the star and the earth? With these set of questions and queries, the subject of astronomy was born. So astronomy can be considered as one of the oldest subjects that human minds have dwelt upon. At the same time, given the huge number of news items that we regularly get to see in television channels and newspapers, you get an idea that it is also one of the most happening subjects. Astronomy as a subject has a power. It can tell us that this particular region, millions of years back, what is the situation here? And at the same time, it can tell us what will be the situation here millions of years later. So spanning a vast expanse of space and time, the subject that deals with astronomy. And scientists all over the world, now even politicians, technocrats, have realized that astronomy is going to be the subject of the 21st century. Just to give you an idea, 1901 till 2000, in 100 years, only 3.5 Nobel Prizes were given in astronomy, astrophysics, cosmology, and what is known as general theory of relativity, given by Einstein in 1915. But 2000 to 2024, 6 Nobel Prizes, 16 Nobel laureates were given this prize for the same subject. And that tells you how the evolution have happened in these subjects. Right? Night sky. Thousands of years back, our ancestors used to look into the night sky and used to wonder what is the meaning behind those lighted dots. They couldn't find an answer, but the human spirit is such, if you cannot explain something, you try to make up some stories and try to explain it. So what they did, they chose different parts of the sky, identified closely spaced stars, joined those stars through straight line, and created imaginary figures. In this way, the whole sky was divided into 88 regions, each region being governed by an imaginary figure, which we today call constellations or Taramandal. Today's young generation, they will say, what's the big deal? These are all imaginary things. Why should I know about them? But just to tell you, young people, they are still relevant. For the last 20 years, I have this experience of every year going down to Dindigal or Belgaum, where the Indian Army has the advanced commando training school. Every year during the winter for 6 nights, I have to teach the army commandos how to read the night sky. Because if you can read the night sky properly without a lot of sophisticated instrument, you can get a lot of information around yourself, whatever. But things have changed, the day sky and the night sky. And here lies this mystery. I tell my students, mostly college teachers and university teachers, that tomorrow as you are going somewhere during the daytime, suddenly stop. Auto-suggest your mind to close your eyes and think nobody is around. Sounds will be coming, right? Keep your eyes closed. Tilt your head, look up, clear sky suppose. Try to think of a bad thing, of a negative idea. It will not come in your mind. Sky somehow expands your mindset. Why, I don't know. A night sky, again gazing at the night sky, the mystery of it, the romanticism of it. So in both sense, now I'm talking literature. Now in both sense, day sky and night sky attracts us. And it happened thousands of years back. But it was only 415 years back, a fellow called Galileo Galilei used a telescope to look into the heavens and realized that there are so many more things to see than the naked eye. And a journey started. And this journey has continued for the last 400 years, and at present, technological marvels. One of the biggest telescope systems in the world, in a place called La Paranal in the Atacama Desert of Chile, 4 8-meter diameter telescope, all of them looking to a single object. I have been here a couple of times for some work. Believe me, it is the most inhospitable place on the earth. Within 250,000 square kilometers, not even a single blade of grass grows. And by government rule, within 250-kilometer diameter radius, not a single human can stay because pollution, light and sound pollution, right? So, just joking, this is just a normal lecture. There, in the bank of consoles, 23 consoles, and there is a red button, nothing written. So I asked the maintenance engineer, what is this button? Oh, he said, oh, I forgot. If during the night you are having a heart attack, now press the button. I said, what happens? No, 250 kilometers away, instantaneously the doctor will know, with a helicopter he will come and take you back to the hospital. So night sky observation is not just buying a telescope, wow, wonderful. It's a very tough job, right? Hawaiian archipelago island called Mauna Kea. On top of Mauna Kea, 15 countries have built 12 telescopes. The smallest one cost is $500 million, roughly 4,000 crore rupees, roughly, right? And India is poor. India is regressing, meaning going backward. And we Bengali intellectuals, which we call Buddhijibis are not considered intellectuals. They're a special class of people, right? So, most of the time, even our kids are learning that from us. Oh, whatever is happening anywhere, come on here. We have thought about it thousands of years back, or we are more progressive than those things. And India at present, come on, 3,000 years, 4,000 years back, this Ganesha's, this thing was done as a surgery. And Mahabharata war, ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? And you smile. How many of us know? According to the UN last year, India is considered as one of the top 5 countries in the world at present in science and technology. West Bengal is nowhere there, right? 35% of the Indian top scientists are Bengalis, but none of them from sort of happening here, right? Whatever. The largest radio telescope system is in India, 90 kilometers from Pune in a place called Narayangaon. They have built 45-meter diameter antennae, 30 of them connected by optical fibers. So when A single star is being observed by all these 30 antennas now, as if a single dish antenna of 30 square kilometer reflecting area looking into the sky. India has built it. Fully indigenous. Fully indigenous. This may be a prolonged lecture, but just to give you an idea, when it was floated, the tender was floated in 1989. Global tender. The lowest quote was from CSIRO, that is an Australian firm. They asked around 3.5 crore rupees per antenna. So 30 of them is almost 100 crore rupees. And the government of India very generously has given 60 crore rupees for the whole project. So they realized that it cannot be done. So the director, who was a very reputed person called Govind Sarup, he was sad. Suddenly he was walking in the sun with an umbrella. It came to his mind, this umbrella can be a very good design. And this is a total complete umbrella design. And you know what is the ultimate final cost of each of this? 32 lakhs. This is India. We call it nowadays, young people call it jugaad, but the point is they're effective, and for the last 30 years is doing fantastic science. Right, okay, whatever. But the largest telescope is not yet born. The work was started in 2018. By 2028, it is going to probably get commissioned. The world's largest telescope will be called TMT, 30-meter telescope, a telescope with a 30-meter diameter. The cost of building this is so huge, not a single country is able to build it. 5 countries are collaborating: USA, Canada, Japan, China, and amazingly India. How many of you know in 2018, the then Prime Minister declared in the Lok Sabha, the Indian contribution for building this telescope will be 1700 crore rupees for one instrument. This is India, not this Ganesha's thing. Same people are doing this. But the narratives here we get is different, right? How many of us know in 2018 again, the government of India has declared 7 mega science project for a decade. 2028 it should be finished. The total budget is 22,400 crore rupees. And out of 7 mega science projects, 6 are in astronomy. This is India. Try to give our young generations the actual truth, not the narrative that we happen to believe or do it because we have entered our comfort zones, the seniors. Right? The sun, moon, and the earth. You will say, come on, LKG 1, LKG 2, they are teaching this. What are you telling us? Okay, let me ask you, learned gathering. If in your household a young tot asks you, today I learned that in the school, earth is going around the sun. Can you tell me what is the average velocity? How many of you know? We all know how much money was spent for Mukesh Ambani's sun's wedding. Right? What I'm trying to say is that those things are never are useful in our life, but we are very interested to know that. Before an election, which candidate will be eating what breakfast is given in the first page. Tell me how it affects your life. But we will be interested. But what is the speed of earth around the sun? Yeah, Google, right? 29.5 kilometers per second. Imagine a car in 1 second moving 30 kilometers, say from here to Joka. You'll say, come on, 1 second, how can it happen? But you forget, you, me, 795 crore people and millions of lives existing on the surface of the earth. Every second of our existence, we are moving at a velocity of 30 kilometers at this moment now. Though you are thinking you are sitting and standing. Amazing. Right. And one thing which really touched my inner chord is this faith, belief, that we exist on earth at this point of time that I'm alive. 72 times the blood is pumping through my heart, going to other parts of the body. Life is everywhere, is because of a series of chance accidents. Nobody has done this, in calendars you see, rays of light going and no. Sorry to say. That is the present understanding, right? Life happens and is happening because of series of chance happenings or accidents. I'll prove it to you. First, you all know that earth is tilted by 23.5 degrees and going around the sun. And it is because of the tilt, season changes occur. You'll tell me, okay, what's the big deal? Do you know if there were no change of seasons, what would have happened? If there are no change of seasons, there would have been no ocean currents. If there are no ocean currents, there would have been no air currents in the atmosphere. And if there are no air currents in the atmosphere, clouds would not have born somewhere and gathered somewhere else and gave us rain and fresh water. Life would not have been possible because just after Earth was born, it would have been a barren desert. So you and me exist now, not because of your LIC and mutual funds. 23.5 degrees, right? Try to put it in your mind. Next, tides. Oh, come on, tides, especially in coastal areas, the tides everybody know. And if I ask, why does tide occur, sir or ma'am? Come on, even the rickshaw puller knows that. It is the moon which is gravitationally attracting the water on the earth, causing the water to rise, tides occur. But those who have studied Newton's laws of gravity in class 11, or 10 even nowadays in 10, m1 m2 by r square. If you do a back of the envelope calculation just after this lecture, you will find sun is attracting earth 173 times more than the moon does. Then why do you say it is moon which is attracting the water? Come on. You all know Mukesh Ambani's son. And you don't know the answer of this. Because tide is not a force. It is rather the resultant of quite a number of force over unit distance, or m1 m2 by r cube. And that is the reason, since moon is still like 84,000 kilometers away and sun is 15 crore kilometers away, moon wins. But a lot of our teacher, never tells our kids, sun also attracts the water on the earth. Do you know how much? 47% than the moon does. Right? Then you will say, okay, I understand tide. Both ho gaya. Why are you talking about tide? Because, my friend, you have in your class 5, 6, you have all learned life first occurred on oceans. How did it come onto the land? Suddenly grew legs? No. Every day, high tides used to wash ashore multicellular organisms. Water used to go down. They used to get stranded, get killed. Over millions of years, they got the adaptation of staying alive. And from there, different mammals and other things happened, reptiles, monkeys, and we have arrived from the monkeys. Right? So that we are here is because tides are there. Life happened because tides are there. So that's an important thing. Third, Earth is 15 crore kilometers away from sun. A place where the average temperature is between 15 degree and 85 degrees centigrade. That means water can be in the liquid state. Water is life. Why? For drinking? No. See, I'm raising my hand. How it is happening? Because my brain is asking my these nerves and tissues to raise. It is happening through some electrical impulses. Tell me, within my body, are there copper wires, conductors? How it is electrical impulses getting transmitted. Every cell has water, and salt soluble in water makes an electrolytic solution. So every cell from here to here is a conductor because of water. So if I am 100 kg, a little less, but still, suppose if I am 100 kg, if you ring me up, 70 kg will be water. And if you ring up a plant, 40% will be water. So water is the essence of life, not for drinking or doing something else, right? So water is available. Okay, it was during a total solar eclipse, sun was discovered as a new avatar. They found out from the surface of the sun, milky white radiation is coming out, which cannot be found on other times. When the scientists asked them what is causing that, they were amazed with the answer. They found out from the surface of the sun, every second, on an average, 16 lakh tons, 1.6 million tons of charged particles are coming out. These charged particles, as they move through the magnetic field of the sun, they radiate, physics students, right? They radiate this milky white radiation. The average velocity of the charged particles are 450 kilometers per second. That means they have enough energy, or technically momentum. If they hit any atom or molecule, instantaneously they will just poof, evaporate. That means if I stop my lecture, go out and stand on the sun, in front of your college, you will see poof, suddenly I evaporate. But I'm alive. How? I'll come to that. Beautiful picture of the moon taken from the moon's surface. Earth arising from the horizon. We see the ulta. We see the moon arising from the horizon. What is moon? According to the scientists, 452 crore years back, 4.52 billion years back, a huge ball of rock came and slammed onto the earth with such a force, huge amount of surface material got gouged up and was thrown up into space. It couldn't go away forever, but going to a very vast distance, for millions of years, it condensed, coagulated, coalesced, and has given birth to the moon. Moon was born from the earth. This theory goes by the name collision ejection theory. A lot of people will get hurt who does this puja for other things for the moon, right? But it's from the earth. The same earth which you are stamping on created the moon. Okay. Now it's the time to start our journey in space and time. You'll say, what a poetic description. No, not me. Space, obviously, from one place to another place I go, I change my space. Time? Yeah, I need time. No, not that time. 1905, a very famous fellow with big hairs, Albert Einstein, gave a lot of theories. I'm not discussing theories in today's memorial lecture, but one of the result was light has a velocity. The velocity of light is 3 lakh kilometers per second. The distance from sun to earth is 15 crore, 3 lakh kilometers per second. Our Madhyashika Parshad made it mandatory. Class 6 geography book, I don't know why astronomy is mixed with geography, but whatever. They had to be written, they had to write, the distance between sun and earth is 8.3 light minutes, or light takes 8.3 minutes to come from sun to earth. What does it mean? Our teachers never tell our kids. It means after my lecture you go out, look at the sun for a fraction of a second and tell yourself the sun I saw now. It is the image of the sun as it was 8.3 minutes back and I'm seeing it now. The closest star, Proxima Centauri, 4.2 light years away. Today evening, if the sky is clear, look at the star and tell yourself, the star I saw now is the image of the star as it was 4.2 years back and I'm seeing it now. Today it may not be there, but I'll see or go on seeing it for some time. So next time, younger generation at your home tells you, please take me to the Science City, spend 50 rupees on a time machine ride. Never. Any clear night, go out into the open, tilt your head. The deeper you are seeing, you are seeing your own past. We don't understand. We do an instantaneous time travel the moment you look into the sky. That is the fascination of looking into the sky. Right. Okay. The first of our journey is the solar system. These are all actual pictures of the major avatars of the solar system, but these are painting basically, but the picture, color is correct. Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Poor Pluto has been kicked out. You have all learned again in class 7. Nowadays it is being taught. Sun is a ball of gas, right? Okay, tell me, my friend, if I take a football, pump in a lot of colored gas, cut open the football, will the gas inside remain like a ball? It will diffuse out. Then how come sun being a ball of gas is not diffusing out into the sky? What does the scientist say? According to the scientist, 460 crore years back, a huge cloud of gas and dust was floating in space. It was made up of 91% hydrogen, 8% helium, 1% rest other elements. The average temperature of this gas cloud was minus 240 degrees centigrade. At this very cold temperature, out of the 4 fundamental forces of nature, for non-physics students, there are only 4 type of forces in nature. Do you know that? And if I slap, sound comes out, right? It becomes hot. What is this force? Tell me. Electromagnetic. Good. Right. So there are only 4 types of forces. So out of the 4 universal types of forces, there are only one type of force comes into play. That is the force of self-gravity. The force of self-gravity will attract the periphery of the gas cloud toward the center. As the gas goes toward the center density rises, pressure builds up, temperature rises. Science students, Charles Lavoie's law. And the temperature starts rising and ultimately it reaches 1.5 crore degrees centigrade. At that temperature, the centers of atoms are called nucleus. 4 hydrogen nuclei, as if they come together, fuse together and produce a helium nucleus. This thermonuclear fusion reaction, our scientists have been able to perform it in the labs, but they cannot control it till 5 years back. So they use it to explode as a hydrogen bomb. But inside the sun, in a very regulated manner, when 4 hydrogen nuclei goes on to give a helium nucleus, huge amount of energy is produced. That energy tries to come out, produces a radiation back pressure called radiation pressure. And believe me, my friend, the inward force of gravity and this radiation pressure, when they meet, they exactly cancels each other, 0 net. And that is the reason sun remains as a ball of gas for millions of years. A little bit this way, that way, now believe me, either sun will expand or shrink. And if that happens, believe me, within 8.3 minutes, you and me, kaput, everybody gone. No Dada Didi, Pishi, Mama, Kaka will be able to stop. Right. Right. So, that is the intransience of life. You should understand. We plan so much, right? Tomorrow I'm going to do this, after tomorrow I'm going to do this. Tomorrow Nitish, next day somebody else, somebody else. Life is fun. Never. Right. Inside, there are 3 regions. The thermonuclear fusion reaction going on in the core. Then for a huge volume, energy freely flows out called the radiative zone. Sun is very funny looking. From the surface, up to a depth of 650 to 700 kilometers, columns of gas, pillars of gas stacked one after another. Heat comes from inside, hits the bottom layer of the gas pillar. Gas, when it is heated, rises up, comes to the surface, deposits the heat as sunlight, becoming cold like a fountain, goes down and continuously raises the heat from inside. Outwardly, sun is again divided into 3 regions. The sun that you get to see, not in Kalimpong or Digha, even in Kolkata, an early morning, late evening, and a lot of elderly people does a Surya Pranam, right? Is called the photosphere, sphere of light, right? And this is the actual picture of the surface of the sun. Not the Dimer Kushumer Moto like an egg yolk, forget about it, right? And this is just above the sun's surface, spikes of gas, exquisitely pink colored gas. They are called chromosphere. Chroma means color. And according to me, the best picture in my life, best picture taken this year in May during the total solar eclipse, American Great Solar Eclipse. One of my friend, very famous fellow called Fred Espanat, have taken this photograph. I'll never forget this. It haunts me almost. The corona. What you are seeing is the moon, which has covered up the sun, eclipse. And this milky white radiation is coming out called corona. Nothing to do with coronavirus. Corona in Latin means crown. It is the crown of the sun. For the picture. For the picture, yes. No, for the picture. And for the laptop, which is showing it. Not for me. Right, whatever. These, by the way, I'm an associate of NASA. So whatever picture I'm showing are actual pictures. Why I'm saying this, it cannot be copied because NASA don't want it to be commercially used. These are not available also always in the internet. Sun sometimes can become very active. You get to see black splotches, actual picture. Kale dhabbas, either 1 or 10, 20 in a group, they are called sunspots. What are they? The surface temperature of sun is 5,800 degrees centigrade. At that temperature, gas cannot remain as gas. It becomes what is known as plasma. Plasma television, same plasma. Plasma has a property. Wherever there is a magnetic field, plasma will try to get deflected from it. On the surface of the sun, very randomly small pockets of magnetism to form. A column of plasma from inside bringing the heat. If it realizes that there is a magnetic field, not to come out straight. It will take the heat away from different directions. No heat comes out from this region. It looks typically dark. I'm not joking. 2012, this photograph was taken. If you don't believe me, go to your internet just now. Do you know how much money was spent for taking this one photograph? $1.2 billion. 120 crore dollar. 9,600 crore rupees for one photograph. Why? You can see the sun like that. Because only in the last 25-30 years, scientists have realized sun is not only providing the energy for us to be alive, sun is interacting with each one of us individually, every second of our existence. Believe me. And now it's daytime, sun is up there, right? At this point of time, very high mobile, very tremendously speedy particles, not charged, not the earlier thing. They're coming out from the surface, hitting this building on the 3rd floor, 4th floor, passing clean through the building. Speed is so much. Passing clean through my body, passing clean through the earth, going out on the other side. It has been proved beyond doubt. In the night, it is passing through the, coming from the sun, passing through the whole earth, passing through my body, going out in space. Do you know on average, how many these particles cross my body every second? 2 followed by 14 zeros. They are called neutrinos. It has been proved. And we think 10-feet poster people are the most powerful things. Sad story. Narratives, right. So sun is not a smooth object. Tremendous amount of explosions are happening every second on the surface of the sun. Thousands of tons of gas are getting thrown out from the surface, reaching a height of 25 to 30,000 kilometers, making beautiful arch and loops, falling back onto the surface. Sometimes they get thrown out with such a force, they get detached from the surface and flow past the whole solar system like a solar wind or a solar storm. Don't believe it? 2016, this is a unique picture, real. And you see, it is going up and falling. Do you know what is the size of the cavity? That 3 Earth will go side by side inside there. Now you see how powerful the sun is. Amazing. We have so much a misconception of light, right? And I mentioned to you that this charged particle, if they hit me, poof, I'll evaporated you, this building, instantaneous. But we are alive. Why? Again an accident. By accident, Earth behaves like a bar magnet. Around the Earth, like a peels of an orange, there is an invisible geomagnetic field. The charged particle, they come and slam onto the Earth, cannot enter, flow past the Earth, and we think we are the king and queen of ourselves, right? But with bar magnet, the north and south magnetic polar region, there are open field lines. Rather, there's a gap. for non-initiated people. These charged particles, they do enter the Earth's atmosphere through the gap. Before hitting you and me and killing, it interacts with the air molecules and make them glow. And what do you get to see? Aurora Borealis, Aurora Australis. YouTube, Facebook, nowadays everybody has seen it. But believe me, my friend, those who have not seen, try to see it. When I have seen it thrice, no words come out of your mouth. You just look like what is happening. And one of the best photographs was taken by one of my very close friend. She is a senior scientist at the Arctic Polar Research Institute, taken from Finland this year in March. Beautiful picture. Right. The sky is getting reflected on the snow, and the Aurora Borealis is happening. How many Bollywood actresses added together, the beauty will be compared to this, right? What do you think of your soap operas? Interesting. Whatever. This is an amazing experience. 10th of May 2024, there was a big eruption on the sun. Big eruption. You must have read it in the newspaper. And that day, that night, later night, not only from the polar regions, almost from everywhere, they could find an Aurora Borealis. England in Ladakh. These are the 4 pictures of 4 places. I was in Prague for some work. Middle of the night, I got up for drinking some water and all that. Suddenly, I found lights. I thought it's a stadium, football stadium or something, like URQUHART. You see the white. Then I found the colors changing and realized that it's a Aurora Borealis. So it can affect the Earth. So now you see how sun is interacting with us, though we don't register it. Okay. Solar system, how did it happen? Disk of gas and dust. At the center, when the sun was getting born in the outer periphery where the temperature was raised, gas and dust condensed, coagulated, coalesced and gave birth to very hot spherical objects. For millions of years, they dissipated away the heat, and at least the first 4, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, become rocky, terrestrial, solid. Whereas Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune are made up of gas. Right? Your kids are learning this nowadays. 6 or 7. They make projects. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune made up of gas. Right? You believe also, right? Tell me, how come they create that image of the idol in the Shani temple? It's made up of gas. A ball of gas, whether it's a boy or a girl, that is itself difficult. Then thinking it has moustache and all that. What I'm trying to say, realize, being scientific minded is tough. You cannot be scientific minded and believe in all this. Dono ke pa diye chala jaye na. But we believe to do that, right? Comfort zones. Younger generation should learn that. If I believe it is made up of gas, that's it. It's tough. That's why not everybody is scientific minded, right? Whatever. This is a collage of all true color pictures of planets. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mother Earth. Let us not talk about them tonight. Mars, red. Why red? Rusting on the surface. Ferrous and ferric oxide covers the whole surface. But this 2002 photograph taken by Hubble Space Telescope, the scientists are interested because in the polar region, they have found white sediments. According to them, the white sediment is mixture of water ice, dry ice, that is carbon dioxide ice, and methane ice. According to them, even if a part of it is water ice, maybe liquid water used to flow on Mars millions of years back. And liquid water is synonymous with life. So was there life on Mars? Is there life on Mars? Big question. Jupiter, 319 times heavier than Earth, takes 11.86 years to go around the sun, takes only 10 hours to go around itself. With a tremendous spin, it has dragged the clouds of the atmosphere and created this belt-like structure. Beauty of the solar system. Saturn, fantastic ring. Uranus with a ring. Neptune, blue in color, covered by methane-bearing clouds. Aha, last 30 years, every 3 to 4 months, Mars this, Mars that. Why? A lot of people tell me, why when India is joining the bandwagon, such a poor country? Do you know what the reason? No scientist will openly tell it because it will cause tremendous panic. They have found this sort of geomorphological structures on the Mars, as if liquid water sometime has cut through the mountainous region, creating these ravines. If today the Martian surface or subsurface has some water ice, there can be bacteria, virus, parasite. How many of you know every year, on an average, few hundred kilograms of rock come scattered from Mars and land onto Earth? Most of the time we don't know because 74% is water. If the Martian soil or subsoil has a bacteria, virus, parasite, my friend, sitting on a rock, if it lands onto Earth, believe me, within 6 months to 3 years, the whole life will go from Earth. If you don't believe, 3 years back, what happened? A dot officially killed 4.8 crore people. And that time you know what is the dot look like. But this bacteria, virus, parasite, nobody has seen on Earth ever. So, for our future generation to be healthy, happy and alive, we have to know whether there is life on Mars, water on Mars. That is the actual reason, right? 2008, Phoenix, this is a very rare photograph, not available in the internet. 2008, Phoenix, a spacecraft landed. As it crashed a little bit, they found a white sediment, right? See these 3 rocks on the inside? After 4 days, not to be found. This, for the first time, the human civilization has found proof of water ice outside the boundary of Earth. Come 2012, NASA sent a spacecraft called Curiosity. The first picture was amazing. Totally dried up riverbeds, what you get to see in Jharkhand or Bihar during summer as you are going through a rail, on a rail bridge. Then pebbles occur wherever there is liquid water. Through the flow of water, they become smooth. Definitely there was water one day on Mars. So in 2012, when the whole scientific community was boiling, what to do next? We have to know more, we have to know more. 15th of August, 2012, India's Independence Day, the then Prime Minister declared in the Lok Sabha, India is ready for a Mars mission. Believe me, my friend, everywhere in the world, when I have faced it, they started smiling. My God, what a nonsense thing. India's technology, Mars, do you know how difficult it is? No country has ever done it successfully in the first time. 7th, 8th, 10th try, they have successful. USA, Russia, or even European Space Agency, right? And our very friendly neighborhood country, China, the 16th August, the Xinhua Press Agency, the lead story was, Indian scientists are going to prove themselves as jokers and clowns in front of the international community. Very humiliating. Rest of the history. We all know, 5th of November 2013, sitting at a nose cone of a PSLV X-25 rocket from the Sriharikota Satish Dhawan Space Center, Mars Orbiter mission. Emotional Indian people called it Mangalyaan. So scientifically they said, chalo call it Mangalyaan. Mangalyaan was sent on to space. And 2014, 24th September, 8:02 AM, India became the first country in the world, in its very first attempt, successfully entered Mangalyaan on a stable orbit around Mangal or Mars. Starting from 1969, no country has been able to do it in the first time. Believe me, it was a moment of pride, happiness for almost all Indian people, kids. They don't know what is it. But believe me, nothing happened in West Bengal. क्या करता है यार वो इसरो ने पैसा है करता है 31 states next day within 24 hours congratulated ISRO, except 2. One is this thing, right? We are a proud inhabitants of this place, right? Buddhijibis. Sometimes I become cynical, can't help it, right? Do you know, according to the NASA director, since I'm a NASA associate, every year I go to NASA for some visit, NASA director's lecture. According to the NASA director, Indian ISRO scientists have manufactured a camera which is the best possible ever built by anybody. Private company, public company, anybody. From 2-dimensional photographs, NASA is creating 3-dimensional topography. 100 photographs has been taken by NASA from ISRO at a cost of $1.1 million. India, doing business. Right. These are the list of projects. Out of these, the first 4 has already been touched. But touch been done, Gaganyaan is being touched. This year there will be 2 experimental flights, 26. 2 people will go. This time Bengalis were very aware. The whole country are jumping up and down, we are not doing anything. So 2023, 14 July, as Chandrayaan-3 was sent, we all know about it. And again, India became the first country in the world on 23rd of August when successfully it landed the rover, which was called Vikram, on the South Pole, 700 kilometers from South Pole, not exactly on the South Pole. No country has ever been there because South Pole landscape is very sketchy. And imagine, you have all seen these moon photographs or the videos, right? Scratchy. Think of the resolution of the camera. A 1.5 meter box has taken the photograph of Vikram and sent it back to Earth. See the resolution. My friend, this is India today. Not what we get to see, right? Astrosat, again a wonder. I'm not going to talk deeply about it. I don't want to talk about a lot of technical subjects. And Aditya L1, which is going to, because now we know that sun is affecting our atmosphere like anything. Do you know, when these eruptions are more, Aurora Borealis, Aurora Australis, what a beautiful thing. But very bad things can happen. In a country like India, 1/5, 1/6, the high tension power grid, 33 kilovolt ka jo power line hai na, if this charge particle pass through that, in electrical engineering there is something called coronal discharge. Instantaneously everything will go down, load shedding. All the transformers will explode. It has happened. Last time it happened in New York, 29 people got killed because there was no time to put into the alternative energy source for the ventilator. They all died. It can happen. As you are sitting now, 110 to 120 volt current will pass through everybody's feet, electrocuting you. If you are flying on a plane, 33,000 feet, Mumbai, Delhi or London, wherever, the amount of X-ray that will pass through everybody is 34 times the X-ray needed for a chest X-ray. The sun can become a little tough guy, right? And this Aditya is going to measure that and model that. And this is wonder. Believe me, I'm not joking. It will make 3 experimental flights and this girl will go from now on. It's called Vyom Mitra. Vyom means space, Mitra is friend. This is only half a girl and it can sit on a table like this, strapped. It has so many computers. In addition, 66 sensors which can sense everything that a human body can sense. So on 2026, when 2 astronauts, first one and the fourth one, will be going on space on Gaganyaan, this lady will also be, girl, not lady, very young boys. I've seen it working in Bengaluru, right? Will be accompanying. Do you know why? Let me tell you, it is classified, but nobody will arrest me, but this is classified. They want to prove it. These 2 astronauts will be putting on helmets, any astronaut. Inside the helmet, there will be a skull cap. Skull cap is the namaz padne ka time jo padta hai na. That will be an EEG machine, not ECG, electroencephalograph, which can read all the neural impulses. And as it is reading, instantaneously it is transferring it Wi-Fi to this girl. So, suppose Gaganyaan is going and it is deviating a little bit. So the order goes, check it, so they know, this button, right? So that, suppose that is wrong. Before he does this, the girl reads her mind and knows, that's the wrong button in human voice, that is the right button. Nobody has done it in the world, humanoid. Right. You talk about artificial intelligence. Do you know artificial intelligence nowadays? Every AI, right? ML, DL, machine learning, deep learning. Do you know India, when was artificial intelligence first used? How many, roughly? Any idea? 1988. Yes. And the byproduct of it, when the idea was sold to the industry, the first product that came out, you have all learned, Videocon fuzzy logic washing machine. That's AI. Fuzzy logic is AI. And we think AI is just happening now. No? Don't underestimate the power of India, the power of Indian mind. He has already mentioned, 3,000 years back, they have said so many things. We are still doing it, but nobody gives importance because my importance will then go down, right? My Facebook friendship will go down. Like number goes down. One paper, I also do review, a lot of reviews, right? I mean, nobody knows the journal. Sometimes they pay $5,000 to publish their papers. Itna paper hua, dekho. Facebook mein bhi aa gaya. What nonsense. And drumming your own drums, it has become the buzzword of the community now, including academic community I'm talking about. Sorry to say. Right. See, I should have I'll spoke a little bit about stars, but you should know about this because no newspaper, Ananda Bazar, Ajkal, Bartaman will not be. Hindu will give it, but not others. Right. How many of you know the costliest satellite is going to be put onto space another 4 months? It's called NISAR. 12,000 crore rupees, or rather $1.5 billion. One instrument. You know what is the meaning of NISAR? NASA, ISRO, synthetic aperture radar. The story is like this. I was involved into a little bit of it. 2015, NASA approached ISRO and said, boss, we want to collaborate with you for building this thing. So ISRO asked how much money? They said 12,000 crore rupees. ISRO said, get lost. Our annual budget is 2,000 crore rupees. How am I going to make a 6,000 crore, half 50%? After the pandemic, 2021, again NASA approached ISRO. Said, okay, we have decided 80% of the cost we will give. You give 20%, but we will be equal partners. Do you know why? I'm quoting NASA director. Listen this. In the last 66 years of NASA, among all the spacecraft that have been put onto the space, correctly they have been put onto their correct orbit 72% times. And in the last 41 years of ISRO, among all the spacecraft that has been sent up, successfully they have been correctly put onto their actual orbit 91% times. And we think, my kid will go to NASA, the best. What to do? Narratives. It is not the NASA's education or knowledge. The stamp of NASA will elevate my prestige in the whole society. Come on here. Educational institution is not a matter of prestige. How much you, because there can be failures from even the best college presidency. One of me, maybe me, in some sense. Or fantastic students from Scottish. Scottish is not bad, but the last 10 years, Scottish results, the students, the quality of students, not the results, I'm not going into that. Result 38% also pass karone kortei hobe na lekin mushkil ache byapar ache. Whatever, excellent. I've taken a couple of interviews also at national level. Very good. I'm not naming them. Right. Space shuttle, right? No. This is India's reusable launch vehicle called Pushpak. October, when you are having Durga Puja, they were testing successful landing of Pushpak in Hyderabad. You should know, you should tell your young people, this is happening in India. Right. How many of you know this? This is a very secret thing. When I got it from the Air Force, when they told me, Dr. Duwari classified, as I forget classification, foreign countries, they know it much before you. So whatever it is, this is called HAPS. High altitude pseudo satellites. India has tested it twice. As it goes up, 30 to 35 kilometers above, do you know how long it can stay? 4 months without coming down. India has produced it. Initially, they thought only for secret defense. Now they are putting it into the market for scientific things. How many of you know just 3 days back, 6 days back, and tomorrow it is going to finalize SpaceX, space docking experiment, where one satellite, one rocket went up, 2 satellites came out. They are going around, and they were slowly made to come together, attached, transfer data, transfer electricity, again detach and come back. Because International Space Station, like Indian Space Station, SpaceX, tomorrow is the docking date. So this is happening in India, because India Space Station by 2035. And I have deliberately put it a girl. I'm not making a politically correct statement. According to me, India's future revolution, development, is going to be done by women and girls. Right. I'll give you an example. I hate almost when I see for the last 4 years just before the Durga Puja, a picture and which says, Ghare Ghare Durga. Absolute nonsense. Ghare Ghare Durga hole ar pandele Durgar dorkar nei. Badite puja koro. but I have seen Durgas. One of the example, 26th January Republic last year. Do you remember contingent women with an open sword? They are Durgas, not you and me. We are Suvidhavadis. Right. It is happening in India. Right. Do you know, but I met, he's a very close friend of mine, the Chandrayaan 2 and 3 project director was a lady. She came down a couple of months back, gave a lecture at Bose Institute. I had to introduce her. Amazing. And she was not an IIT graduate. She did her BSc from Lucknow University. So small town things, small places, reaching the heights. Tell your kids that. It can happen. If you are correct, if you are okay. And if you're not okay, you will go on pointing fingers, making excuses, ye chilo na, wo chilo na, this never happened, that never happened, teacher was bad, politics was bad, because you don't have it in you. Saturn, beautiful ring system, sometime. 80,000 kilometers wide, 1 to 100 kilometers in thickness and made up of ice crystals and pebbles. How come ice crystals and pebbles are not getting dissipated, keeping their shape and I mean, দেরি করে ফেলছি কি আচ্ছা ঘড়ি দেখছি বলছি না বললে আমি থেমে যাবো আমার কি আমার যা পাওয়ার হয়ে গেছে মানে স্পেশালি নকুর চন্দনদি পেয়ে গেছে আর কি right and made up of ice crystals and pebbles. How come ice crystals and pebbles are not getting dissipated, keeping their shape and size? One fellow has done his PhD under me on the stability. Those of you know in science background, it's a non-linear dynamical model. Fractals, fractional dimension, 2.2 dimension, you can prove the equilibrium of the system. And this picture is a favorite for me. Right. Yeah, it's already mentioned by ma'am or sir, the pale blue dot. And basically think about it. A rocket takes you to this ring system of Saturn, dumps you there and drops you there and comes back. You are alone, right? Wow. Suddenly an alien comes. There is no alien, but imagine the alien coming. Ask him, hey, who are you? What answer you will give? I'm a human being. What does a human being mean? You are singly standing there. So you have to say basically, sir or madam, whatever the alien is, me, 794 crore like me called human beings, all other different types of animals, all plants, rivers, oceans, mountains, everything, deserts, everything is concentrated into this white dot. The actual picture of Earth from Saturn. And that tells you, astronomy does fantastic things for your ego. And you have to tell the fellows, you see that dot, sir? I'm a micro dot in that dot. That is my importance. And think of the importance we demand in our family, life, societies, college, everything. A narrative we should forget. When you go to the space now, you realize how insignificant you are. At the same time, I tell my PhD students, you are not insignificant. Do you know why? Within this 25 to 30 centimeter, we can visualize universe. That is the power. This is the power. We hardly use it. In a recent Harvard study for 20 years, they have found out, on an average normal human being starting from his birth to death, 85 years, 89 years for them, US, the amount of brain they use, the maximum is 17%. Less 83% they don't use. In our brain, the political figures are crowding there, right? 83%. Absolute nonsense. I'm telling myself absolute nonsense, not you. What we have done. How we have destroyed the opportunities that has come to me just because I'm alive. We have not done that. Right. So younger generation should know this and try to elevate their life. I know, not in this college. N number of colleges, 80% boys and girls are doing BSc or BA. Why? After some time, they go to pantaloons, being a marketing executives, get a salary of 11,000 rupees standing for 12 hours selling clothes. That is West Bengal now. And we think we are progressing. 1801, an Italian astronomer, Giuseppe Piazzi, discovered a piece of rock typically 900 kilometers in diameter between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter, going around the sun, called it Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, Ceres. People thought a new planet has been found. Within couple of years, 3 more, Pallas, Vesta and Juno, each around 500 kilometers in diameter, were observed going round the sun between the orbit of Mars, Mongol and Jupiter, Brihaspati. People realized a new class of object is getting discovered. They are called asteroids, in Bengali Grohanu. And since his name was mentioned a couple of times, Rabindranath gave the name Grohika. Why Rabindranath? How many of you know, till now, whatever I have showed you, waving my hands, raising my voice up and down, was already written 80 years back by Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore is not Pochishe Boishak Baise Shravan. Harmonium comes out and this garland and all the tiffin and blah blah blah. Rabindranath Tagore, see, Facebook picture, or even sending to government department. Our college has done Rabindranath. Rabindranath Tagore was one of the best scientific minded person in our society for the last 200-300 years. Man, don't think I'm talking bad about Rabindra Sangit. Very personally speaking, I'm not declaring it. When I have a Sangit Prabhakar degree from Allahabad in Rabindra Sangit, right? My teacher was Rajeshwar Bhattacharya, right? So, I know what is Rabindra Sangit, but the way it is being portrayed, Rabindranath, absolute nonsense. How many of you have read in the 13th volume, Vishwa Parichaya? Everything is given there. Bhulok, Nakshatralok, Shurjalok, everything. And you think we are Bengali, you know, Rabindranath Tagore is the brand. Sick. Jai Ho. This picture is an actual representation of NASA. Here, each green dot is a discovered and named asteroid going round the sun. Think of the poor astrologers, 9 planets and sun, 10 fingers, 10 angutis. Now what they will do? If you have to suppress all of them from the tip of your head to the tip of your toe, like a Christmas tree, you have to wear angutis and tabij kaboj. Right? What nonsense, I cannot believe it, right? And these red dots, they are called Apollo asteroids. What is the speciality? Their orbit intersects the orbit of Earth. That means Earth is going around the sun on its own, merrily, happily singing, merrily, 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 but they can come and hit the Earth at any point of time. 1/5, 1/6 of the Earth will blow apart. The heat will be so much, na? When I am standing, smiling, next moment my smile will be there like Shukumar Roy's cat. I will not be there. Right? And if you ask me, when can that happen? Hey, this is very bad news. Believe me, my friend, go to the internet and check. Any point of time. As I am speaking to you, it can happen here at this moment. It can happen 10 years later, 10 lakh years later. Nobody knows. That we are alive is an accident. We think we die because of accidents. We are alive because it is an accident. Right. Another just 5-10 minutes. Can I get 5-10 minutes more? It just ending, not even 55 minutes it has happened. I'm very time specific. Let me take you out of the solar system. Actual photographs. You'll say, now this is too much. Guldebar a limit ache, right? When you look up in the sky, 2 lighted dots, stars or planets, totally black. Where from you are getting this photograph? Do you know why we don't get to see this photograph? Because of the human eye. Human eye has something called a perception of vision. Within 1/10 of a second, whatever amount of light enters through our pupil falls on the retina, the optic nerve immediately takes them to the back of our head. We see from this region of the brain and creates an image. Our eyes cannot add light like a CCD camera. If our eyes were like a CCD chip, looking in a particular direction for 10 hours, 20 hours, you'd have seen every dot in the sky there is a star. And all huge gas clouds of all colors, hues and saturations. In this case, I wanted to say something. Suppose I ask from one of my young friends, I'm not asking you physically, to share me with your ID card. The photograph is there and something is written. I'm not seeing the written part. I'm just seeing the photograph. Nice looking boy and girl. Though the hairstyle today is not like this for boys, it seems that goats have eaten up this side and there is something happening. But somehow, amazing, that's their hairstyle, right? And if you're growing a little bit older, with a little bit of money, you wear a this thing. And looking at the photograph, I have to tell what is the body's temperature at this point. Looking at the photograph. What is the weight? What is the size? How long this fellow was here on the earth? What is inside? What is the chemistry? Looking at a photograph, can you answer all this? But don't forget, my friend, looking at a photograph of a star, you have to answer all this. only the signal of light comes. You have to be tremendously clever to do successful astrophysics. Tremendously clever, right? Temperature, chemical composition, radial velocity, physical processes, everything from one single source of light. So, doing astronomy successfully is not easy. You have to prove yourself even in our country. I'll give you but don't think, but I'm beyond the age of boasting now. I'm 63 years old, right? Forget about. I'm talking about my experience 40 years back. An institute started in India, UGC Institute, called Inter-University Center of Astronomy and Astrophysics in Pune. I liked the director, Jayant Vishnu Narlikar. He's good. So I thought I'll do my research. After MSc, I applied. The cutoff mark for application 40 years back, 80% in MSc, 80% in BSc, 90% in Ucha Madhyamik, 95 in Madhyamik. That year, nobody got 95 in Madhyamik. Right? 40 years back, it was tough. So, accordingly, 1,800 people applied out of this criteria. 90 were chosen and were invited to Pune. Everything paid, travel, stay in a hotel, not hostel, everything, for written examination and interview. The interview day, the examination day, believe me, it all started at 8:30. 8:30 to 10:30 is the written examination. By 12:30, results are out. Out of 90, 27 were chosen. Then 12:30 to 1:32 is a lunch. 2 o'clock till 5 o'clock is the first interview. Out of 27, 9 were chosen. Then the final interview, 6:30 to 10:30 in the night, same day. Out of 9, 2 were chosen. This is the level, even today. Our Bengali kids don't understand that. Our degree ache, you have to give me, get lost, you prove yourself. And the facilities that were given, I cannot even explain. 40 years back, the hostel room, each individual research scholar, one room, air conditioned, attached bath, and believe me, internet in your hostel room. Nobody knew about internet 40 years back. I could travel to 19 countries during my 4 years of research without spending a single rupee from Government of India or my pocket. It opens up. But you have to prove yourself. To younger generation people, I say, I finished my PhD in 4.5 years, including the graduate school. The day I submitted the PhD to the Pune University department, I went to Deccan Gymkhana, which is the esplanade of Pune, and bought Pune Darshan ticket to go around in Pune after 4.5 years. To work tough. জীবনটাকে এনজয় করবো না এই বয়সে, করলে করো, আর কিছু করো না। Work is tough. You have to prove yourself, right? I'm not asking you to become geeks, but the thing is that you have to do yourself. Forget about this. This is, at least for a lot of people, too tough. And the light that is coming, put a prism, break the light in different wavelengths, and you get to know all this temperature, blah, 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 what chemical. You know who told this first? Huh? বুদ্ধিজীবী বাঙালি, এই হচ্ছে বুদ্ধিজীবী বাঙালির প্রবলেম। This was first mentioned that you can find everything about stars by the light, by breaking the light, and he's called the father of stellar astrophysics, is this person. See? I feel sad that we don't know this. 5 times he was nominated for Nobel Prize, but it was not given because he was anti-British. Right. How many of us know about his work? মেঘনাথ শাহ নিয়ে এখানে একটা লেকচারও হয়ে যাবে, লেকচার না হলেও মেমোরিয়ালও হয়ে যাবে, কিন্তু কতজন ছাত্রছাত্রী জানবে মেঘনাথ শাহ কে ছিল? আমরা কি, lot of Bengali people say that, no, he became the MP of the first and first 5-year planning commission. গন্ডগোল করেছে এখানে। দিস ইজ বেঙ্গলি। ছাদাটা খুঁজতে হবে। মানে খুব ভালো, আপনি কিন্তু ওই কিন্তুটা আমরা অ্যাড করে দিই। রবীন্দ্রনাথের মতো মানুষ হয় না, কিন্তু ভিক্টোরিয়া কম্প, তাই না? প্রাউড বেঙ্গলিস। Jai ho. Sorry. Stars come at very different color, very different masses, surface temperature and chemical composition. But all the stars are burning hydrogen to helium, that process I mentioned. In the terms of mass, 0.08 to 150 times the mass of sun. Mass of sun is 2 followed by 30 zeros. And in terms of surface temperature, 50,000 degree to 1800 degrees centigrade. And it was a legendary woman, 110 years back at Harvard Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory, Mary Jump Cannon. She did research. In 6 years, with naked eye, she examined 240,000 star images and their spectra and created an index. Hottest surface temperature O star, next hot B, A, F, G, K, M. 100 years science has changed. Nobody can touch her this thing. Right? And I will tell you, young students, her life. One line. In 6 years of research, do you know how many holidays she took? 6. Only on the Christmas Eve. And we, 1st of January, 3 Ravivar poche geche re. The approach. If you have to be superlative, your thoughts should be exceptional, not run-of-the-mill thoughts. Okay. If your life and death of stars, stars are born. These are actual photographs, by the way. Even in internet, you will not get to see regularly. Stars are born from interstellar clouds of gas and dust. What does this mean? Between two stars, when you see totally dark night, no. Huge amount of clouds, but we don't see it. Our ability is not to see that. Do you know which animal can see this? Amazingly, dung beetles. You know dung beetles in Africa? How it recently came up. What happened? They stay inside the hole on the flat land. And when the sun goes down, they comes up. Goes for food and then again comes out. And they found on an average 3 to 4 kilometers they go and come back at the same place. So they were puzzled scientists, entomologists, what is happening? Then they realized, put sensors around that, not stars. They navigate by the light of the Milky Way. And they come back at the same point. Right? And we think we are much, much superior than dung beetles, right? Amazingly. At least in one faculty we are not. Alright. So stars are born out of interstellar clouds of gas and dust. You want to see real pictures? Taken only recently, last 2-3 years. From one cloud, 1,000 solar system will be formed. Not our clouds in the sky. You want to see it? 2.5 million pixels, 25 lakh pixels. One photograph will produce 12 PhDs. Do you know why? A guy who has been given this, or girl who has been given this, takes at least 2.5 years with the best computers to understand it. After 2.5 years, you'll stand here at your hallowed portals and say, my friends, green and blue at the top, oxygen 5, oxygen 6. This blue is neutral hydrogen. This yellow is sulfur. This black is iron. This green is either zinc or molybdenum. This white is titanium. The picture tells a story. You're not touching anything, just the light. Right. So you have to be very, very clever. Otherwise, no point. No point. If you are born, you have to die. And because I have to come back to my this thing, and so I have to make them die. Stars die differently, depending on their initial masses. These are all real pictures. See, in one region, 12 lakh stars. Right. For stars whose initial mass, is 1 to 8 times the mass of sun. Let us talk about the sun. Sun is alive because hydrogen to helium at the core, energy producing a pressure, counterbalancing the inert force of gravity. It is burning at the same time, it is remaining spherical. How much hydrogen? If you do a small calculation in the very core area, hydrogen to helium burning will go on for another 500 crore years. 5 billion years. After that, when all hydrogen gets into helium, the thermonuclear fusion reaction stops, energy production stops, outward pressure stops, but gravity is there. So sun will shrink. As it is shrinking, in the outer layers, there is still a lot of hydrogen. Because of the contraction, the temperature rises up ultimately to 1.5 crore. The temperature is earlier at the center. At that temperature, 4 hydrogen nuclei fuses to produce helium. Heat will be produced. Gas, when heated, expands. So after 500 crore years later, if you open your window and see, sun is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, suddenly it will stop, and then it will start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. How big it will be? In a small calculation, you can show after 500 crore years later, sun will become bigger and bigger and bigger and ultimately touch the orbit of Earth. Much, much before that, Venus, Mercury, Venus, Earth, we will all go inside the sun. Nothing remains. Much, much before that, everything will be pure ash. The temperature will be so much. Right? That's why insurance companies don't give you 500 crore years premium. They know what is going to happen. Right? So when the star is becoming big, it is called the red giant. When the outside is becoming bigger, the inner core of helium, because of gravity, contracts. Temperature rises from 1.5 to 10 crore. At 10 crore degrees centigrade, 3 helium nucleus fuse together and produce a carbon nucleus. Again, thermonuclear fusion reaction, energy stops. But soon, when all the helium goes on to carbon, since the initial mass was 1 to 8 times the mass of sun, it is not enough to produce more pressure, raise the temperature to 10,000 crore degrees centigrade. So the inside core, a very hot ball of carbon in the sky like a dot, bright. It will be called a white dwarf, Shed Bamun. By the time the outside has become so big, it will slowly start getting detached from the central region and create a cloud-like structure called planetary nebula. Science fiction, right? No. But for 35 years, these are my topics of my very minuscule research I do. I'll show you true photographs. You want to see? Our sun will one day become like this. And the size is bigger than the present solar system. It's so big, right? And it was in 94, 93 with two of my associates, Professor Isabel Cherchnev from University of Geneva and Professor Karan Willasi from Jet Propulsion Lab, Pasadena, California. It's a NASA lab. We thought about that as it is becoming big, shocks are produced. So whether the shock can produce molecules. It was just a suggestion by somebody, not even calculation. So poor me had to write a computer simulation program. It took me 1 year, 24,000 line Fortran program. At that time, Fortran was the only thing. Since I was teaching at Manchester, we could use the mainframe supercomputer. So we used that. And after 1 year of crunching, on the computer you produced, believe me, we are so happy, 72 molecules in the computer, not really. So we sent it for publication to the best journal called Astrophysical Journal from University of Chicago. 6 months later, it takes 2 years for the reference report to come. So many people sent, right? It came back with a red cross saying, your calculations are correct, your simulation is correct, but nature does not follow simulation. No scientific reasoning, right? We are puzzled. 1 year just wasted because of this. What to do? Luck. 1996, Holland sent a spacecraft called ISO, Infrared Space Observatory. Believe me, my friend, out of 72 predicted molecules, 68 were discovered in one shot. And that was a moment of ecstasy for three of us, right? And a new branch almost proliferated, astrochemistry. Synthesis of molecules in interstellar space, right? And these are the molecules that we predicted that has been discovered. You see, most of them are organic molecules. That means if somebody says life is the only property of Earth, if you go anywhere, there is no life, forget it. He's a stupid fellow. Life is an universal process, not particular to Earth. Any star at its death produces the prebiotic material of life. Another 2 minutes, death of stars, explosive kind. Stars whose initial mass is 1 to 25 times, hydrogen to helium at the core, helium to carbon as earlier, then mass big, pressure big, temperature big, carbon to oxygen, neon, silicon, sulfur, iron. How much pressure you give to iron nuclei, it will not fuse. So layers like a peels of an onion, peajer khoshar mot at the core, hydrogen, helium, carbon, oxygen, neon, magnesium, and blah, 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 and iron. Thermonuclear fusion reaction stopped. Gravity, you cannot escape. With a tremendous force, they fall. They get a kick, recoil, try to come up, explodes. The temperature rises to trillions and trillions degrees centigrade. And starting from iron 54, 56 to periodic table end, normally occurring elements 96 periodic table, all materials get produced in a fraction of a second. Since they are produced in a fraction of a second, they cannot be produced in huge quantities. And on Earth they have a special name, you and me know that. Rare earth element, right? And the star explodes, throwing away this material. And this explosion is called supernova explosion. And why I'm saying this, do you know? Your blood is red, everybody's, mine also. Why red? Hemoglobin. What in hemoglobin? Iron, Kellogg's cake cornflakes, right? Kulekhana, if you don't have anemia and blah blah. Close your mind's eye, or mind's eye. Imagine one single atom of iron going to your heart, leg, heart, head, heart, hand, 72 times per minute. Where from the single atom of iron has come inside my body? The answer is through my food. If I'm a vegetarian, I've eaten the plant. If I'm a non-veg, I've eaten the goat which has eaten the plant. How in the plant? Oh, from the ground. How in the ground? Deep in the mines, there are all this. Some of them percolated up. They should not, but they are percolated up. How in the mines? Because, my friend, the average temperature of space is minus 240 degrees centigrade. And according to the scientist who gave the concept of the birth of the universe, 1,377 crore years back, our universe started from a very dense point and produced only hydrogen and helium. Then iron. Today before lunch you come to know and eat well. Each atom of iron in my blood, calcium, bones, sodium, potassium, zinc, whatever my body, your body is made up of, this is made up of. Atom by atom literally could only be created inside a star millions of years back. There is no other physical process present. And that is the why, making a full circle, going back to our person who mentioned about cosmos and Carl Sagan, you, me, the cat, the monkey, the dog, whatever, blah, blah, we are all star children. We are made up of stardust, literally. So the person who only wears Park Avenue or whatever, and the person who wears a 400 rupee shirt, inside we are all stardust. That you should understand, right? Okay, so I'll finish up saying that gas to gas in between stars are happening, but there is a chemical khichdi going on. This has given birth. There is complex nature of chemistry in the space that we don't see, a new branch of studies. Life in the universe. What is life? How life originated on Earth? Because starting from 1957, scientists have desperately tried, they cannot produce life till today on Earth. Because they think the initial material for life was not present that time when life began. So, for the last 30 years, a theory called panspermia. Pan means every direction, sperm is the seed of life, is coming, which says the material for life came from space, not life. The raw biotic, prebiotic material. And this has given birth to another field which is called astrobiology. Now you tell me, astrophysics, astrochemistry, astrobiology, astrostatistics, astrocomputing. Give me one subject which has all these branches. And do you know, there are 2 astrobiology institutes in India, in world, sorry. One in NASA, Jet Propulsion Lab, Pasadena, another in Pune University. Nowhere in the world. Buddhi, Magojastro, right? So my friend, it's a wonderful story. I'm not going to talk about black holes and all that. Someday I'll come back. Not able to talk about our cosmos and the Big Bang hypothesis. Time is not there, how materials are produced. But the final horizon, cosmic horizon, is an expanding horizon. Every moment it thrives on questioning. So my young friends, start questioning from today. Right? That is the best way to learn. No book will give you that. Question. Answer may not be there. You have to find your own answer. Right? And to end the story, a lot of technology is needed. I'm not going to all this. These are things that is presently needed in astronomy, astrophysics. Right? And read it. I don't have to read out all this. Including what are known as, do you know what is known as disruptive technology? You should come to know about all these things within 6 months. There is something called disruptive technology. Basically, what is disrupted? All our age-old idea of technology, how it applies, is totally getting destroyed. AI is one of the examples. Then there is something called blue sky research. What is blue sky research? Why the sky is blue? What will happen if you know the sky is blue or black? So why do you do it? But the result is tremendous. So these two things are the future of our research. And to end up, sorry. This fellow. No, this is not the fellow, Rabindranath Tagore, but okay. Somebody, Bangali to, sir, image was wrong. That's not Rabindranath Tagore. I know that. Right. Akash bhara surjo tara bishwa bhara pran, tahari majkhane ami peyechi mor sthan. I thought that there may be some non-Bengali people. So translation is, my heart sings at the wonder of my place. In this world of light and life, at the feel in my pulse of the rhythm of creation, cadence means illuminated by the swing of the endless time. Sorry, I cannot control myself, became too poetic, right? Bad translation. So, it was done by Rabindranath Tagore, not by me. Right. And to end the thing, I should thank you, and I always try to thank a person who has played a very big role in my life for 15 years till his death in 2015. Because I was thinking of doing science, I was so important. He was the person with whom I came in contact and realized, he used to call me Duariji. Duariji, go out to masses. It will be such a satisfying and enriching thing. Go out to the rural most areas. Talk to the fellow who is not even having a shirt or a full trouser. Try to, even one person comes out now, they will be our next generation Einsteins. And just to tell you, man, you thought I'm making stories. I really bow down to this fellow who has been a very close friend of mine for the last 15 years. Right. So thank you. Thank you very much.
I think I should not speak. I should not speak at all because I don't qualify to be here at all. But convention demands. I thank Dr. Duari for this exceptionally well articulated presentation. There are a couple of things that I am taking away from this. One is I realize I'm a speck in a huge kind of a round circle. So my littleness, I have understood. The other thing that I take away from Dr. Duari is, ye hai mera India. So I think a round of applause for that. And especially I think for the students, we have a tendency to run down, like nothing is going to happen to us, We are, look west, look west, we are constantly looking west and saying, amader kichu hobe na, ekhane kichu hobe na. And after this lecture, I think ekhanei hocche, it's a present continuous. So another big round of applause for Dr. Duari for bringing us this. And of course, reflected glory. I can't give up the 3 months of being students together. So reflected glory. So on a personal front, I give him a huge round of applause for sharing his knowledge, his expertise, and in his inimitable style that made it so lucid and that made it go straight to the heart. So we are grateful. Now, of course, the floor is thrown open for questions. He ended on a note that you must ask questions. So if you have questions to ask, Dr. Joydeep Mitro will conduct that part of the session. Any questions? Joydeep, take over. Take it.
Okay, so you can have some questions from here. You can raise your hand and ask questions if you want. Those who are listening to the YouTube live, you can put your questions in the YouTube comment box also. I can take up some questions also from there. So not many time, but if you wish to ask anything, there will be many questions, I guess. But if you want to ask, just raise your hand And we have a student here, Sujal, who just will go over to you and put the mic. So anybody who wants to ask anything. Nobody know, let me see the YouTube file.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. You can ask directly.
This is to Dr. Duari. You know, being a liberal arts student, you kept saying that there was two levels of discourse. The narrative that you mentioned. There was one narrative out there, front page newspapers and all that. And there is another narrative where there's budgetary allocation. Okay, so why is there, since the budgetary allocation and the narrative on the newspaper, I would like to think is somehow controlled by the same ideas, why is there this fracture?
A very relevant question. Why is everything going down in terms of money? Research fellowship, funding, projects. I really do not have an answer for that, but one thing I can say, how many of the research projects that are being applied for and later on, if money is received, worked for 3 years or more than 3 years, how many of them are good science? That is the whole thing. That also is, but the policymakers, they don't realize what is good, what is bad. So what they do, they put it that less. Now what they're doing the next level, since I'm a member of NITI, not member, but advisor to NITI Aayog, now they will, in the coming 3 years, they're planning to put excellence as the marker. How excellent you are, even if you're a college or a university teacher, then only we'll give you project, otherwise no. That should be needed for the development. That is much my feeling. It's a Nietzschean philosophy, but it's still correct.
Sir, you have a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I am Sushmita from the Department of Political Science. Well, I was studying theology and I read that Galileo and Copernicus, their works were, the church had put their works in the list of prohibited books. And that is one take. And another while, when I was studying the theories of creation, we were looking at the different theories, and I want to know what is your take on the church, first of all, putting all these important researches for years and years in the list of prohibited books, and secondly, the challenge that came from the theory, from the first chapter of the Bible, which is Genesis, the creation story. I would like to hear your take on this, these two issues.
Yeah, see, first of all, I'm a student of theology, so I'm not. So that's a reason I really am not, I cannot prescribe myself to give comments on these things because I do not know about them. But still, on a general level, on a basically ethical level, I will say, these theological things, they have a meaning. Just to give you an idea, only last week, I was invited by a university in United Arab Emirates called Al Ain University, very famous. They said, sir, you talk about cosmology, they've heard me in some places, in Taiwan or something. You talk about cosmology, in our Quran, they have these cosmological concepts. So you come and start a course. And I said, no, I'm not capable enough to do that because philosophy, certain times, gave rise to these ethical, spiritual words, which later on was misused by the priesthood to control the society. Most of the religious practices we do today has not been given in Gita or Upanishad, right? But came much, much later when they realized the king has to control everybody and he should control it by two people. One is the army general, one is the priest. And that's how it happened. In Christianity also. So why I said Vatican Observatory, they have done a very good thing for the last 4 decades. Every 10 years, there is a conference called Vatican Conference, where top-notch, some 80, 90 scientists from all sciences are invited. And I was very fortunate, unfortunate, whatever it is, I was invited also. There, each scientist for 4 days will tell what is the present understanding of their scientific discipline that day. And then Pope and his 30, he has 13 ministers. Pope and his 13 ministers will sit and say, we will accept this. That is the reason they now accept that Earth is going around the sun, our solar system is just a small body, cosmology happened when they don't want, but they said Earth, universe came from a small dense point. That church has started believing that, right? But it doesn't happen here, right? When you have Omung Baba Tomung Ma doing this.
Okay, acha, Bipul on.
স্যার অ্যাস্ট্রোস্যাট আমাদের যে উপগ্রহটা টেলিস্কোপ হিসেবে রয়েছে মহাকাশে, আর এখন জেমস ওয়েভ যে জায়গায় পৌঁছে গেছে, আমাদের ইসরো থেকে মানে জেমস ওয়েভ ইকুইভ্যালেন্ট টেলিস্কোপের কাছাকাছি চিন্তাভাবনা
হবে না, এখনও করতে অনেক দেরি। জেমস ওয়েভ করতে কত খরচ হয়েছে জানেন? $10 billion। $10 billion মানে কত? 1000 কোটি টাকা। 1000 কোটি টাকা মানে কত? 80,000 কোটি টাকা রাফলি। নেই, ভারতের এই পয়সা নেই। ভারত 77 বছর আগে স্বাধীন হয়েছে, তখন কিছু ছিল না। এইগুলো আমরা ভুলে গেলে চলবো না, রাইট?
ওকে, যদি আর কারোর কিছু কোশ্চেন থাকে। ওকে, সামনে সোহম।
So my question may sound childish or stupid, but I would like to ask this question. Whatever constellations we see at night. It's the nighttime sky that we observe. So when the earth is facing the sun, and the stars that are still shining but are rendered invisible because of the brilliance of the sun, are they a different set of stars? Are they a different set of stars?
Every star is a so-called sun. Sun is a star. During daytime, we don't get to see because sun is nearby. Light is so bright, we don't get to see. But 6 months later, wait for 6 months, again at the same time, you see the stars on the other side of the sun, that is night, which is today on the side.
Okay.
Okay, so I just finish up and Kabedi will take over about the vote of the thanks.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, first of all, thank you. Sir, first of all, thank you for giving us this wonderful experience. So my question is there anything about multiverse?
Yes. Only recent times when they say everything started from a dense region 13.77 million years ago, the first question that was asked, before that what was it? They will say, no, don't ask that question, that is the beginning of time. Then they will ask, on where, which space it was there? They will say, don't ask this question. That is the beginning of space and time. So people were a little puzzled. So it started a theory called string theory, which say we live in higher dimensions. 10 dimensions. What nonsense thing. X, Y, Z, 3 and time is 4. How do we get a higher dimension? Then they say, a small example. This is a 2-dimensional object, X, Y. Let me roll it. Roll continuously. It becomes a line, 1 dimension. So 1 dimension gets compactified in other dimension. So 6 dimensions are compactified in 3 plus 1 dimension. And in that hyperspace, there can be other universes. But we cannot communicate. Because distances are such, light travel time and other laws of physics will be different. Very short.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you to Dr. Duari for that excellent session and for answering our queries and questions from all our sides. I now invite Dr. Shomrat Bhattacharya, our IQSC coordinator, to offer the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Kaberidi. It is an extreme honor for me to propose the vote of thanks on this August platform of the 10th Alexander Duff Memorial Lecture. It is always a memorable experience to listen to Dr. Devi Prasad Duari. He takes you through a beautiful journey into an unknown and unperceived world of galaxies and stars, which keeps a long-lasting impact on the audience, and today is no exception. Thank you, Dr. Duari, for accepting our invitation and for delivering the 10th Alexander Duff Memorial Lecture. We would love to see you and hear you in the near future also. May I have a round of applause on behalf of all of us. Thank you, sir, for coming to Scottish Church College. I am grateful to our former principal, vice principals, faculty members, guests, collaborators from Forest Department, Rubber Research Institute, and other dignitaries for gracing today's occasion. Thank you all for coming to Scottish Church College. My gratitude to the members of the College Council and senators and members from church for their presence. Ladies and gentlemen, this program would not have been possible without the support of our secretary, Dr. Shopun Kumar Mukhuti, principal, vice principal, and all the IMC members. My sincere thanks to all of them. I am thankful to all the faculty members and support staff for their roles in staging today's lecture. A special token of appreciation for the beautiful lady who so gracefully conducted today's program, Dr. Kaberi Chatterjee. A round of applause, Kaberi. Thank you. My thanks to Joydeep also for conducting the question-answer session. Last but not the least, thanks to all my dear students for their presence. Without you, none of our program would be complete. Thank you all for coming today. Please excuse me if I have missed out anyone. My sincere apologies for any inconvenience caused to anyone during the course of organizing this lecture, particularly for the change in date. Thank you all once again for your love, support, and being with Scottish Church College. This gives us the impetus to move on and do good work. Wishing you all a prosperous and productive New Year 2025. Do take care of yourself and the persons around you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would take this opportunity also to thank Dr. Shamrat Bhattacharjee, who so very generously gives the vote of thanks. And he's so humble, he says he's missed out, but till date I've not heard him miss out anybody, either voluntarily or involuntarily. So big round of applause for Shamrat Bhattacharjee. No program can end without a little bit of refreshment. So I would request all teaching staff to kindly proceed to the staff room, main staff room, all non-teaching staff to go to room number 3, all students to please assemble in front of the seminar hall, and my request to all our guests to kindly go to the canteen. Will somebody please take our guests, accompany them to the canteen? All of them may not know where the canteen is.